Now, when we talk about shifts, I want to just give you a definition of shifts so that you can understand what is taking place in the area of changes. This word shift means to move or transfer from one place or position to another. To move or transfer from one position or place to another. It is to alter. And a lot of times we hear the word alter. I see people misspelling altar, and they put altar for altar. I'm saying this because I want you to understand that's different. The altar is sacrifice. The altar is change. So to alter position or place. It is to change gears, as in an automobile. We are shifting gears. We're shifting gears. Change position, place, or form. It has to do with historical changes, things that begin to change historically. It is change from one person or configuration to another, a substitution, because something is pulled out in order for something else to be placed in. Change of winds, change of direction or shift in winds, change of attitude, judgments, or emphasis. It's also a change of position. It is a change of position. So we're saying that now we are in the midst of change. We're in the midst of change. Things are changing. Things are changing, I would say, at a rapid pace. It's changing faster than we've ever seen changes occur before. And don't ever misread the changes, but we must read the changes rightly. Jesus began to say to the Pharisees, you know the signs of the sky. When it's cloudy and when it's red and threatening, you know the signs of the sky, but you do not know the signs of the times. You do not know the signs of the times. And understand that this thing of times, signs of the times, I was reading a book even this morning by Abraham Heschel. I think his name is Heschel. He's a Jewish writer. Now, don't read his stuff about Jesus because you're not going to see a whole lot about Jesus in his writings, but understand our Jewish brethren can help us a whole lot to understand some things about God, and we have to parallel it to an understanding of Jesus Christ himself. But something he was talking about in his book that was very profound to me, as I began to read this, I began to look at how we measure things based upon we have a chronological order, and we think everything is cyclical. Many people think, I'm going to say all think that things are cyclical, that there are times that have come in just a matter of time when the cycle will come around and we begin to see that time coming again. And we begin to read in the book of Solomon talking about it, but in Ecclesiastes, but what he was talking about, he was giving reference to how people view things and how people view time. It wasn't the truth that he was conveying at that time. When he talks about things we begin to see them repeating over and over again. It talks about the circle of life. That's what we even begin to see movies talking about, the circle of life in Lion King. But life is not the circle. Life is not a circle. And don't give reference to life as being a circle or a cycle, because you'll engage in Hinduism. You'll begin to believe in reincarnation if that, in fact, be the case. But understand, life is not cyclical. Life is linear. We're moving towards something that is cataclysmic. We're moving towards an event. Understand, we're moving towards an event. So here's what we understand how to measure time. We measure time by events. We measure time by events. When something happens, the uniqueness of that event is a way or a means of measuring the times. You see, we measure the times by events. What am I talking about? We begin to read where the scripture says, God introduces himself. I am the God of Abraham. I am the God of Isaac. And I am the God of Jacob. Don't think he's just calling out names to say that, okay, Abraham was, Isaac was, and Jacob was, and that become the full extent of the measurement of God based upon people. But it was the uniqueness of the revelation that God gave Abraham that became a measurement of time. He said, now I am presenting myself to Abraham in a way that I've never presented myself before. He said, so now you have entered into a time or a season of revelation. And then he reveals himself to Isaac, his son. He said, as I was with your father, so will I be with you. So he reveals himself to the son, but there's a uniqueness in the revelation that Isaac had that we can refer to the historical events that occurred, but it was a building upon the history of Abraham that we began to see Isaac coming on the scene, and the same thing with Jacob and Joshua and many others that would come on the scene. We began to see the uniqueness of the revelation that God would give at a particular time in history that became the measurement of the times. Now, I want you to hear what I'm saying here. God is trying to get something across to us, that things are happening around us. What just took place last night and this morning wasn't just coincidental. The threat that's taking place right now on the shores of eastern shores of the United States. Don't think that these things are merely coincidental, that now the shores are being threatened in Manhattan and all of these things. Now, here's what we're doing. We're praying that God would avert whatever danger could very possibly come upon the eastern shores of the United States. We're praying that. That should be our prayer. But at the same time, we must ask ourselves the question, why would it happen now? Why would these things happen now? Why would it happen in light of what has already happened in New Orleans, in the light of what has already happened in Haiti, in light of all the things happened in Mississippi and all the other places that have already been attacked, in light of what has happened in history? Why is it happening now? You can read the signs of the sky, but you cannot read the signs of the time. And at the same time, why is it that so many things that were done in darkness are now coming to the light? Why are so many things being exposed, not just in the things that we have knowledge of, but there are many things that's being uncovered that were hidden in darkness beforehand, but now they're being exposed. And the question is, are you paying attention to what God is saying? Are you caught up in a time warp whereby you're trying to hold on to an experience that you once had and not willing to go forward with God? So you see, that's why we're not moved by the things that we see. It's not based upon the number of people that's excited about the message that I'm preaching. I'm saying, Lord, perfect the message within me. Because as we move towards a particular time, then it's going to take a people that's sold out to God, because we're not in position to handle or to manage what God is wanting to do among us until we reach a certain point in Him. He said, I'm expecting something out of you, and if you're not ready for it, understand this. I'm giving you signs. I'm giving you signs so that you can begin to take me more seriously. I'm giving you signals. I'm giving you signals so that you can begin to judge a thing rightly.